Well, I want to say thank you to my beautiful colleagues and new friends here. You all gave us so much. Paul, your vision as an albino unicorn will stick with me for quite a while, and you are one. And it's a needed voice. It's a very needed voice. And you know, as a pastor, there's a certain credibility that you have, that many of our people have, that a person like me doesn't have. And we need you to speak up. So thank you. And John, for your ability to make science personal, and for the facts of the matter to you as a person, humanizes the graphs and makes it important to us. To Sarah, to talk about transformation and really mean it. Boy, the affliction of every pastor, right, and every Christian, to give lip service to something that is about us. Dwayne, to talk about story, to reimagine our story in a more faithful way is powerful, because everything is story. And God gave us a story. And it's the only thing that really motivates change. And to find our place in that story reimagined is really important. And Glenn, for you to talk about unity as the power that allows us to do these things is incredibly true. And Tyler, your vision for a new city is wonderful language and wonderful metaphor and absolutely the truth. So thank you for all of that. I want to talk just a minute about how is it that we've been so stuck for so long? And what can we do in this moment of time? First thing here is that the church has lost its credibility and its voice in the discussion of the public good. It's true, and it's heartbreaking, but we've kind of done it to ourselves. Just a few things. I think you all know this. There's this huge cultural shift away from Christianity or religion in general in our culture that we all feel the tension of, but in it comes great opportunity. Secondly, the scandal of our churches. We have all had times and seasons where we have not been who we said we were, and that has cost us our place in the public square. We have valued our institutional survival and identity over mission and our purpose. We have some of the voices in our Christian family have decided to take up a polemic against science, and that has reaped an ugly reward. And it has silenced the voice of the majority. It is also a new day of religious pluralism, which I think many of us are happy about, but it is in its own way a new day for us to understand how to speak in a religiously plural society and how to broaden our understanding of brothers and sisters of faith. All of that, I think, has both acknowledged the fact that we've lost our credibility and also that we have been kind of disoriented and we haven't found or claimed our voice. The second thing is there is a moral imperative now, and you've heard it all morning, that we push all of that aside and we stand up and find a new voice now, and it's not our old voice. It's not a voice of power or of cultural elitism. It's not a voice of the cultural majority or of moral superiority. It is a humble voice. It is a voice of a caring neighbor and a willing partner, a voice of millions of people, the vulnerable, the marginalized, the at-risk. It is a voice of considered appreciation for science. It isn't that many generations ago that theology was called the queen of the sciences and found its place in conversation with the science. A voice that the church can have now is a new voice that values the natural world, the interconnectedness of the earth, the respect of our diverse neighbors, the love of the environment, and the people of this world. This is also a moment now where opportunity can happen. You've all spoken about this a little bit. There is a turn in the conversation now, where instead of having to go into fistfights every time we talk about this with our colleagues or our communities, all of a sudden now there is the question, what do we do? And that brings opportunity and hope. This is a moment where all of us from every faith tradition have more in common than we have difference. Good. This slide that Tim put together for us, these are all the different organized religions that have produced statements on climate change and the need to act. It is hard to argue with that list. That is a hopeful, inspired list that shows us we have a lot more in common than we ever had imagined. This is a moment in time where people of faith can actually stand up and be who we say we are, and to live and work for the common good of all. I think in this moment we can find a new identity for all of us that will be much more who we all aspire to be. There is an urgency about all this. For those of us who have based our lives on the belief that this is a sacred world, that it's been created with great intention and love, we cannot be the generation that is too preoccupied with small and petty intramural church fights, interdenominational squabbles, name-calling, and all the other stuff that seems to happen all the time with the people that have the megaphones in this world. And we cannot be the generation that sees God's created world suffer and stand by and do nothing. I really appreciate the way that both of you articulated that so personally. I think partly it's just my own middle-agedness that's coming out. It used to be my parents' generation that I blamed for everything. I now have two 20-something-year-old sons who are quite willing to point out that my generation is failing fast. It's time for us as people of faith to stand up and honor God, honor our core traditions, honor what we have to say to each other, and to make something new, and to participate with what God is doing in this world. And lastly, I'll echo what I heard often here today as well. From a Judeo-Christian perspective, we believe in a story that always moved from orientation to disorientation to new orientation. As particular people of Christ, we believe in the resurrection. We believe in Easter Sundays just as surely as we experience Good Fridays. And although this moment seems like a Good Friday and is in many ways a Good Friday for this whole created world, we do believe that Easter comes. It is a time now not for despair, but for action and hope. And the most hopeful thing that's happened today, as far as I'm concerned, is that each of you has shown up today. So thank you for that. Thank you for all the wonderful words and information and facts this day. Normally I'd say amen. Is that okay? Amen. Good. Good. Thank you.